Keys to the game for me is I know I was talking about getting the run game involved. That's a part of it, but I am just tired of this Rams offense going through a bunch of like slow phases and three and outs and then can't sustain drives. You need the running backs to help you out and spark it. Like you have Cooper Cup and Puka Nakua and a pretty good tutu out, well, and a good quarterback and Matt Stafford. Like, come on, get things going here. And you're gonna be playing a very good Cowboys, defense. And like I mentioned, the Cowboys offense is starting to pick it up. Like you can't be hanging around with 20 points, 17 points in this game on the road too. And yeah, you got 26 against Arizona. That's Arizona. Don't even try to take that as credit. So when's the last time they scored, that many points against, a quality opponent? So I forget, maybe what they got 17 or 14 against the Eagles. That was the last time they had a pretty good, tough game. They got 17 last week. So you better be in the mid 20s to have a chance against the Cowboys. So when you air it out, like put on like McVay. I know you had the baby, maybe you were stressed out, but now scheme it up, get some great play designs, and open up the passing game because you're not gonna have a chance playing ball control football. And if you play ball control, the Cowboys might do that better than you. And your sideline, you're gonna be in the sideline with Cooper Cup and Puka all day in Stafford. So it's also critical for Stafford to play clean football, no interceptions, no dumb mistakes. So I want to see the surgeon out there, the pocket passer, Stafford, just carving up this defense. But I get it, it's tough to do with the guys you mentioned in the secondary. But you got to have some kind of downfield element to have a chance to win this game.
It's funny that you bring this up because we focus here on the Rams and you get to cover the rest of the league. And one of the things that I continue to hear about when it comes to this offense, and people are starting to believe in this team, they think they can make the playoffs even at 3-4, and so do we. We think that they're gonna have to go about 6-4 to make the playoffs. There's you can get to that 7 seed, but one of the things I continue to hear from people and see is the fact that this is a top 7 offense, Gilbert, even with all their struggles on offense that we talk about, and we're very critical of Sean McVay. You're right. I mean, they need to score more points, which is rare. But as we talked about, offenses are down. This points are down. The red zone is bad this season all around the league, and yet the Rams are a top 7 team on offense. And you're right. They need he needs to be, and then that gets me to my thing is clock management, like game management for Sean McVay. I think has been really bad, especially like there's only been one complete game, Gilbert, and that was against the Seattle Seahawks in the first game. Outside of that, they've either been really good in one half, or they've been really good for 3 quarters against the Steelers. I was I after the third quarter, I was like, okay, we're finally gonna get 4 quarters of good football that we haven't seen since game one against Seattle in that Steelers game. And then they just disappeared in the fourth quarter. And I think part of it has been Sean McVay's game management. And I think he's been a big problem. If you look at games against the Bengals, the game against the Eagles, against the 49ers, and then against the Steelers. Um, he needs to do a better job of managing. I gave him a pass on the timeouts, Gilbert, but not a lot of people are because,
Mm.
as they pointed out, like, hey, he tends to do this. He tends to burn through his timeouts before the 2 minute warning, and this time it came back to bite him. And so I just want to see better game management in this game, especially when you're going up against Mike McCarthy, who is terrible at game management. So, you know, something's got to give here, Gilbert. It's either going to be Mike McCarthy's inability to game manage, or Sean McVay finally puts it together and is able to manage a good game for fourth quarters.
Yeah, you know what I thought was pretty telling about McVay is like when they asked him about the spot of the ball and kind of getting, the short end of the stick when it came to the officials. I get that sometimes coaches don't want to get fined, so they go the high road. But you could tell McVay was more high road because he knew the offense just stunk. they had a bunch of opportunities to not be in that position, and that's what dwelled on him. And I'm like, okay, at least McVay knows here that the offense is not doing well. And I kind of gave him a pass too with the timeouts because he had to burn a couple to stop the clock to get the ball back, and you want to go down and score and tie the game with enough time. He did burn one a little early, so that cost him there. Obviously, you don't burn that one early. You have it in your back pocket, and he burned two on that drive, that last one for the Steelers. So, I'm not too mad at it, but you do want to have at least all three for those final 3 minutes when it's a one score game. But he's probably thinking, well, you know what? It's a close game. We got a couple opportunities here in the fourth quarter to make something happen, and they didn't. And I'm sure that ate at McVay during the presser, a day or two, or not too long because the baby arrived, so you can't really dwell on it. But I'll say this about the offense, Vic. They're good, but they're not very good. They're not great either. And
Yeah.
I kind of blame the all 22 people because they just brag about the designs that McVay has. Like, oh, look at this amazing
Thank
design.
you.
This great
Thank you for
scheme
saying
here.
that, Gilbert, because I was trying to make that point on regular Compas this week. I didn't get to, but yes, I've been saying this about this these what does I call it? Offensive
They're
uh
geniuses or gurus.
yeah, yes.
And they love to like brag and brag, and they have like 50,000 followers on Twitter, and like, oh, look at this great design here, and people run with that, and they eat it, and it's like, well, they're still scoring 17 14 points per game. They can't even score in either one half or the second half, and it's like, yeah, Cooper Cup, Puka Nakua, you're not really getting these guys involved, and Stafford hasn't been really great either. And it's like, but you see the flashes, and I think that's the most frustrating part. I'm guessing for Rams fans, seeing like it's supposed to be a crappy year, but it's not. There's so much potential and upside, and it's very, very exciting. But at the same time, there's a lot of growing pains, and it's kind of like, which team do you want to be? The old Rams where you're really good, or the ones rebuilding? You're kind of caught in the middle, and people are like really like frustrated about it. This is like a weird feeling. Like, who are you really, Rams? And that's what we see all the time. Like even on the defensive side, like people don't really watch the Rams like as closely as we do, and they discredit the defense without because they have nobody on that side. It's like, well, besides Aaron Donald, it's like, but then like the scheme is working. What Raheem is doing, Raheem Morris is doing, it's working. Look at the numbers, and but you see in the betting lines or the total lines, like, oh, they're gonna suck defensively, but they really haven't. But on offense, it's just a bunch of potential, and they're not doing anything with it. And that's where you see McVay frustrated week after week after week. Like, you could have done something here, or done something there, and why are you not scoring for 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes? And it's been frustrating watching that part, but at the same time, it's pretty exciting because you have so many new faces, and it's a new era, but you're still in that middle part of the phase.
Yeah, and then part of the problem, Gilbert, is the fact that you have about four really good players, and then the rest you're really young. And I think once you get down to it, it's not about just getting out coach, it's about getting out talented. Like, if you don't have the horses to be able to compete with some of these teams, it's gonna show. Like, there's only so much you can coach up these players. And look, Sean McVay has done a great job this season. Like, I had this expectation this season that they were going to make the playoffs because of his coaching. But I think the guy that deserves a lot of the credit is Raheem Morris, as you brought it up, because I think as much as people this season, it's starting to annoy me. As much as credit as they give these offensive of coaches, there's not a lot given to defensive coordinators around the league, and that's why I pointed out guys like Dan Quinn, Raheem Morris. There's a lot of guys out there that are coaching their butts off, and it's like, well, it's the offense. That's why the red zone is bad, and you look the other way instead of giving credit to some of these defensive coordinators. We have not seen this terrible of a red zone offense since 2014, and a lot of these defensive coordinators deserve more love. And because this is why I hate the fact that they don't get head coaching jobs. We're always looking for the next offensive guru, instead of looking for defensive guys. And I just, I know we're going here on a little rant, but that's just the reality of it, Gilbert.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think these are both things that they're bothering us. It's like, if you look at it, the Rams defense has been better, and the offense has just been potential but not results. So yeah, we had to get that rant going and let people know that yeah, it's great on film, but it's not winning ball games right now.
And I'll tell you this: those four guys that shout out to Jordan Rodriguez, and I brought it up about her story about the play callers, which is Mike McDaniel, Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, and Sean McVay. All four of those coaches scored exactly 17 points on their team this on in week week 7. So I mean,
They all lost.
they all lost, guys. So give some credit to the defensive guys.